Good day, everyone, and thank you so much for attending our webinar this morning. My name is Murali. I'm a full-time employee of QoS Technology with a few years of cybersecurity experience. I'm a certified ethical hacker, certified checkpoint security master, also one of the core member of PurpleSynapz. So PurpleSynapz, located in Bengaluru, which is our world-class cybersecurity research, innovation, and security simulations lab, also provides the red and blue teaming training solutions in order to secure the information systems of our customers. So this webinar is happening in association with KTech. KTech is Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, a really good initiative from Karnataka government to spread cybersecurity awareness and innovations. So as you guys know, this webinar is all about providing you basic awareness of malicious hacking using open source tools. My goal of this webinar is to provide cybersecurity awareness by informing you with some of the open source tools, major phases in hacking, a bit about anonymizers, and few countermeasures. So please leave your questions in chat box. I will discuss on them at the end of this webinar. So there are multiple operating systems for hacking. You can see in the list. So throughout this webinar, I will be using Kali Linux. Okay, let's get started. Hacking operating systems we have seen. So by using those operating systems and applications, so people will take the access, unauthorized access to the systems for their intentions. So in this webinar, we are talking about malicious hacking. So hacker is someone who has developed a deeper interest in understanding how the computer system or software programs works, so that he can take control of the computer by exploiting any of the existing weakness in it. So every network has some loopholes, bugs, and misconfigurations, which can invite an attacker to play with those vulnerabilities. There are mainly 5 phases. Let's see the phases of hacking one by one. So first phase is reconnaissance. When a malicious hacker starts an IT security investigation, the first phase is the data reconnaissance. That is gathering the information as much as possible about his target. So gathering information can be IP addresses, port numbers, and different services, domain details, mail servers, network topology, or anything it would be. So an expert hacker will spend most of the time in reconnaissance phase, so that he will help with further phases of the attacks. The information about target can be collected using 3 main methods. One is passive, second semi-passive, and active. So that is sending no packets, limited packets, or more packets, that means more traffic to the target IP address to get a response back from that. So how it happens? So multiple tools out there on the internet. Some are commercial, and most of them are available as open source. So of course, tools will do rest of the hard work for security professionals and also for malicious hackers. Let's see some of the examples here for the reconnaissance phase. So there are some websites, something called who is hosting this, and census.io, shodan.io, and Wayback Machine, that is archives.org, the ping.eu. So if you can see this, who is hosting website, okay. So for example, if you type any domain name and search in this, so they will be able to see some information like IP addresses of that server which is hosting this web server, and who is the hosting provider. And if you can see who is registered for this domain, definitely hacker can see some information who has registered and all, like this. So address and the phone number, the person name, and most of the things. So from this, at this stage, okay, at this stage, hacker got some of the IP address of that. If the malicious hacker is trying to hack some website, so first thing is he will get the IP address of the server, and it could be through any means, through the NS lookup or traceroute or anything. So next step is hacker will try to enumerate the information. So like this, and if he puts inside this census or shodan, he'll be able to get information like this. So what are these open ports and services and their versions, and some information about the operating systems. So if we paste the same IP address in student.io, gets more information like what is the location and many more things like services, open ports, and other devices which are connected with this. Hacker can really enumerate the information which is available publicly and decide for the next attacks. So if suppose, for example, 21 is opened and 22 port number is opened, so hacker will try to decide what kind of attacks will be applied to this. For example, SSH is open, brute force attack can be possible. So shodan and census are very great, very good tools for internet searching, like for the IoTs, like any Internet of Things can be scanned, and results will be shown to you, like webcams, which is available publicly, and any web server or any FTP servers. For example, okay, if somebody hosted FTP server newly, so if they can packet capture on that using Wireshark or TCP dump, suddenly they will be able to see some of the scanning traffic from different countries. So no need to panic about that. But because of this, this kind of search engines can really scan the entire network and gives the information about the specific ports. Like if I'm able to search for the port number 21, so it searches entire internet and gives you all the servers information which is hosting port number 21, and like this. And hackers can specifically go into the location and search. For example, in the Bangalore, so whoever is hosting FTP servers, they can be visible here. So if it is public facing. So next is Wayback Machine. So it gives us the history of the website. Okay, for example, today's website is different, and 2 to 3 years back, our website was different. So it actually contains the archives of the website information and gives us the history of the information. Like we can actually distinguish how was the website. So after getting those information like IP address and services, for example, we found some 21, 22 ports by using shodan and IO. Shodan, and census. So hacker will try to make use of this open source, which is freely available most of the time, and check for the specific ports just to confirm. So because that is the OSINT, open source tools like census and shodan.io, those contains the most of the time those contains wrong information. So in order to confirm that, just enter a domain name and or the IP address, check for those port numbers if it is really open or not. So it just gives you it because it sends few of the packets to the target and gets the response back, so that it can decide some port is opened or closed. Like if you can search for this, it shows you some ports are closed. Specifically, hackers will try to poke around these things. So next thing is so basically in traditional way, what happens? People make use of Google hacking. Like if you want to search me and search any people like me, like I type Murali M and LinkedIn and QS technology. So these are the keywords specifically used to input the Google so that it can reduce the focus area and gives the result at the top. So here is my profile. And if for example, for file type, if I want to specifically find out the specific file type from a specific website, I just type site checkpoint.com and file type is PDF. Checkpoint.com it is. So this lists out all the PDF files in the Google results. So this is a kind of traditional way of hacking Google using the Google. Okay. One more thing, there is something called open source intelligence framework, OSINT framework, basically we call it as. And everything is available here at one place. So for this, anything over the internet will become the resource. So definitely people can make use of it to specifically search what they want. For example, so I want email addresses from the specific company like wipro.com. So it will just search us over the internet and gives us the result. So by using this email addresses, okay, so hacker can do phishing attacks, spamming attacks, and many more. So anything available over the internet, those email IDs will be fetched here by using this tool. That is skyman.com. So many are there likewise. So definitely, hackers will make use of it. So not just those tools, many tools are available over the internet for data gathering. For example, this one. So top 20 data reconnaissance and intel gathering tools. So almost all are open source and people can make use of it. Many good tools are there like Maltigo, Recon-ng, the Harvester, Shodan. And also, there are inbuilt tools in Kali Linux like this for information gathering. People can either use this inbuilt tools or download it from the internet and try to gather information much as possible. Okay. Next step is scanning. That's the next phase of the hacking. Scanning is the second step in the intelligence gathering process in a malicious hacking, where information about a specific address, IP address, operating systems, and their architecture, services running on the victim can be obtained. Okay, so there are three types of scanning: the port scanning, network scanning, and vulnerability scanning. Vulnerability scanning involves the use of automated tools to proactively identify security vulnerabilities. Some of the popular tools for scanning are Nmap, Nessus, NetScan Tool Pro, UpScan, Angry IP Scanner, OpenVAS, Retina Network Security Scanner, Qualys FreeScan, Net2, and many more are there. So only thing, it takes time to understand its features and operations. So some of the list of web scanning tools are there. So I can show you here, Google. Just close this. Okay. That is from OWASP, I think. Sorry. So here it is. So that's another way of checking for the information by giving the specific keywords. So I was searching for this vulnerability scanning tools for the application hackers. There are a list of application hacking, scanning tools are there. So people will definitely make use of it since it is available for everyone. And for a practical example, okay. For a practical example, I take Nmap and Nessus vulnerability scanner. Since they are quite popular tools. So Nmap stands for. I'm hearing some echo. Please myself. Okay, so Nmap, it stands for network mapper. Can be used for many purposes, like to check whether a specific port is opened or not by using different scanning types. So to check information about OS and its version, and also for scanning known vulnerabilities using the scripts. There are some inbuilt scripts that it can make use of it. So let me show that. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, I just need to turn on this again.
Hello, hello.
Just a minute, it's turning on.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Okay.
So I was talking about Nessus. So if you can see, so there are multiple ways that we can make use of Nmap. So here are some tools like Nmap, which can scan the, if using Nmap, we can scan some target IP address for its service version. The output would be like this. So it shows you what are the open ports and service and its versions running accordingly. So for example, VSFTPD 2.3.4 is running for FTP service, and ASC bind 294 for domain, and HTTP Apache 2.228 it's running. So if attacker goes back and search more about this version of this FTP service, so he will find out some backdoor vulnerability. So that is here Nmap, and the script is there to exploit the non-vulnerability. That is FTP VSFTPD backdoor on the port number 1, and just he needs to specify the target IP address like this by entering the command, and it gives the output whether that is vulnerable or not. So it's vulnerable, the target IP addresses. So by using this information, attacker can make use of exploits which is available in the Metasploit and exploit it. So that I'll explain you in the next slide. So Nmap, any script, okay, which will be used from the background, like from here. There's a file structure. User share and Nmap. Scripts will be run from this location. The Nmap user share Nmap scripts. You can find what we are searching is FTP VSFTPD script. Okay, this was taken by that command and it will be run. So like this. It confirms, just scans and it confirms that is vulnerable to this weakness. Sorry. So this is one of the web server Metasploitable 2 I'm using, and this server is hosted by FTP server, and server is vulnerable to VSFTPD backdoor. So next is vulnerability scanning tools. So here I'm using Nessus. So Nessus provides information about security vulnerabilities and helps in penetration testing and IDS signature development. So checks for latest software patches, tries with the default passwords, common passwords on the system accounts, and if it exists, and gives us the result that it has default passwords. And configuration audit it does, and vulnerability analysis. It also does mobile device audits and provides customized report options like in an CSV format, HTML, XML, PDF, and Nessus database. So this Nessus database can be later imported into Metasploitable or any other exploitable tools framework, and this vulnerability information can be exploited. So next is Metasploit Framework that I was talking about. So let's see how it works. So Metasploit Framework is a very powerful tool. It's commonly used. Provides the exploits of known security vulnerabilities. Helps in penetration testing and IDS signature development. It's a total framework for developing and executing exploit code against the remote target mission. So exploiting a system includes choosing and configuring the exploit. Exploit is nothing but the code enters a target system by taking advantage of one of its bugs. And choosing and configuring the payload is next step. Is the payload is nothing but the code that will be executed on the target system upon successful entry. And choosing and there are multiple functionalities available operations. Choosing the encoding technique so that IPS and antivirus ignores the encoded payload. So finally, run the exploit or just type exploit or run so that it does its work. So let me show something, just to understand its how it works. So previously we have scanned for using. I'm getting echo. Please mute your audio. Okay. There's a sample report of Nexus scanning. Ran on that web server. So malicious attackers also make use of this such tools. So that Nexus will provide us the report based on the scoring system. So it could be in critical, high, medium, low, and information. So that all depends on how fast an attacker can, that vulnerability can exploited few minutes, few hours. It depends on that. So hackers, there are some critical vulnerabilities found here. I just copy this as an attacker. I just unmute. Somebody are talking. Okay, so okay. So just copy this. Even I don't know as an attacker what is this and all. I no need to know about this in advance. So let me dig out this. What is this? So there is something called MSF console, that is Metasploit Framework. Either you can click from here or just type MSF console in the terminal of the Kali. So use, I just search that. vulnerability name. Okay, search. So it definitely gives some known exploit available for this vulnerability. So that's actually the backdoor. So let me check what is this. So just use the keyword and paste this exploit and started using this. And if you want to know information about this, so hacker gets information like this module exploits a malicious backdoor that was added to the Unreal IRCD. So Internet Relay Chat Daemon was the package previously during 2009. So that was added to the software. So I installed that. So those softwares were containing this backdoor. So this is a known vulnerability, and I'm just going to exploit this. So before exploiting, just need to give the just need to fill out these variables here. No anything. Set our host is nothing but the remote host of the target. So here the remote host is this 168.20.138. Okay, so again check show options just to confirm whether that is placed. So basically this is the code program that exploit is. So if you can type edit, you can see how the program was developed for this exploit. So this is the one. So inside that, so we can actually customize it. So as per our intention, let's just exploit it. So it is executing and gives the shell of that server over the port number this, since that contains the backdoor. So if I type who am I, so it's the root of that server, because that backdoor that vulnerability gives us the root access. So now we can run many commands as much as possible, like ls. So it lists out all the files which is there in that specific directory, and pwd. So it's basically need to know the Linux commands, how to make use of them. Var ww. Okay. So this is how it works actually. So attacker can literally take the access to that command line of the web server and does many things, as you know, since he's a root user now. So next is just to give you some idea how scanning can be done, and how if any vulnerability is critical can be exploited using Metasploit Framework. So next is being anonymizer. That is I'll explain it in a later part. So come back to the other phases. So first we have understood what is reconnaissance or footprinting and scanning. The next other three steps are gaining the access, maintaining the access, and clearing the tracks. So let's see what is gaining the access. So this is the phase where the real hacking takes place, as you have seen in the Metasploit exploit, during that lab previously. So vulnerabilities discovered during the reconnaissance and scanning phase are now exploited to gain access. So here attackers gets access to the target machine and does privilege escalation for full control. For example, say hacker chooses phishing attack. It's a safe and simple delivery method to gain access. So for, another example in case of application hacking is something cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, XML external entity attacks, and exploiting insecure file upload and downloads inside the websites. So any bugs inside the website can be exploitable. So that is more done by the bug bounties by using that scanning tools which I shown you in the OS website. So next is maintaining the access. So hackers may want to keep that access persistence for future exploitation and attacks. Also, as base to launch additional attacks, they can perform any post-exploitation activities such as creating a new administrator account, dumps the user passwords, and pass the hash and pivot attacks in order to maintain access to other machines in the same network, and stealing the browser history data from victim PC can be used. But some tools like Beef can be used for that. So you may overall game is played letting the victim think that nothing was disturbed. So, and the final step is clearing the tracks. So no thief wants to get caught. An experienced hacker clears all the evidence so that in the later point of time, no one will find any traces finding back to him. So this involves modifying, corrupting, and deleting the valuable log files. So also modifying the registry values, uninstalling all the applications he has used earlier, and deleting all the folders he has created. So basically, to delete all the log files which should not lead to him. So next step is being anonymizer. So well experienced malicious hackers never ever hack without being an anonymizer. So if you want to browse through unindexed internet, like indexed internet, what we use through search engines, like any website is indexed by using spiders or crawlers. So we just gets the information from the Google or any search engines. So unindexed in the internet, that is the dark web, you will have to use something called Tor. Otherwise, you won't be able to access the .NET inside the deep web. Tor stands for the onion router. So it will also protect hackers' anonymity by passing the computers through several relays that say proxy chains. Okay, like this. I know you can see in the slide. So anonymity would be more stronger using Tor within a weak network that allows peer-to-peer networking. That is P2P, P2P networking. For example, tools are Anonymizer, TailOS, Announcer, Knipe, Hide Your IP, and many more are there. Definitely, you can dig out and check about them, how it works. So please mute your audio. I'm getting okay. Okay. So there is a demonstration I can show you. Okay. Let's understand or see in a video that I have documented a scenario of a reverse shell attack to gain the access and privilege escalation for maintaining the access using persistence and clearing the logs, any security events on the Windows. So password reset from the malicious hacker. So let's see those things. So something I have. Okay. So here I'm using MSF console, that is Metasploit Framework. So Metasploit Framework is a framework for exploitation framework that contains a lot of modules like exploit auxiliaries, host and payloads, encoders, and knobs. These are the modules actually. Basically, this contains the several scripts inside that does some exploitation operations. Everything is scripts and programming languages, mostly in PHP. So I'm using exploit called HTA server. So MISC HTA server I'm using. So and filling the variables there. If you can see what is that HTA server, that's a HTML application. I'm going to create the payload. So this module hosts an HTML application that when opened run a payload via PowerShell actually. So SVC host is nothing but the server which is hosted. That IP address I just need to copy and paste. That is the attacker's IP address. Let's say 160. 120. Setting the payload for a reverse TCP connection, so that the victim, the moment clicks on that payload, will initiate the connection back to attacker's machine in order to take the control back. So here in the reverse TCP, to mention the local host that attacker's machine, that is 128. And just run exploit. So it will create a link. It just creates a link so that I can use this link and send it to the victim through email by doing the phishing attacks. So that email, that attack, victim side, people can download it. And the moment he enters this website, victim will be that browser will download the payload. So that I'll show you in the demonstration that. Okay. So at this moment, how the delivery method would be. Okay. So this delivery method would be in this fashion. So through a phishing mail, okay, people will try to play around the messages like this. So here is my here is my URL. So I used bit.url, something like this, bit.ly, bit.ly, okay. So just type that URL, http colon 193.168.60.30.90. Okay. So this was, suppose this was the URL got generated from that HTA exploit. and I just shorten this URL and I get this. Copy this and paste it here in the mail. So that at the beginning, getting a lot of noise. Please unmute. Okay, so in order to make it real, attackers will send the phishing mails like this. Instead of IP address, I just shorten the URL so that IP address will be hidden behind this. So let's come back to that video. Okay, so here I'm using that as a web server. I just send the URL to the victim through the phishing mail, and he's trying to enter that URL, and that payload will be downloaded to his machine. So like this, download.hta. This is HTML application, so not exe file. If there is a exe file, that could be detected by antivirus. And even Chrome will bypass this since it's HTML application. So while delivering, attacker will monitor the delivery stage here, delivering payload. The moment that was clicked and executed at the victim side, so attacker gets the shell of the victim through some port which was mentioned here. She got the shell. So let me see what is there in that payload. I'll show you here. So this was in downloads. If you can see what is there inside this payload, the payload was created by using VB script that calls the PowerShell to execute that in order to give the reverse shell back to the attacker. You can definitely dig out this script, what it does. So everything is automated. So now what? So it's literally got the command, terminal of the victim, that is Windows 7. And the metapreter is the one that is nothing but the shell of the victim. So here we have a lot of options, number of commands which can perform some functionalities for example, networking commands, core commands, file system commands, many are there. So post exploitation activities, what are all the things that malicious hacker can do? Get the information about the system and get the information about the interface IP addresses and the routing information, and go to the shell, the command line, and see what are the files. Just attacker tries to traverse through all the file systems in the computer, and whichever seems to be interesting, you can download it. So like this, the screenshot which was collected.
Nitin, wait. Nitin, wait.
That was a screenshot. And so currently we don't have the full control over the mission. So use this get system. Get system will give us privilege escalation. Sorry. Uh, please mute. I'm not able to speak properly because of the disturbance. So there is some other exploit which is used for privilege escalation, that is bypass USE for Windows systems, that is user account controls. So the moment we use that and exploit, so it gets the privilege escalation on the Windows, that is root access, administrator access. So we need to specify the local host. So now it gets the full access. So one more session was open for privilege escalation on the session number 2. So this session is used over the session 1. Session 1 was not in the admin privilege. So session 2 is in admin privilege by taking the, by exploiting that vulnerability. So now if you use get system, so it got the system access, full access. Okay. Shall it's full access. So now there are many post exploitation activities. That one of them is keystroke scanning, like using the keylogger. So anything which victim types inside the browser or inside any file, those keywords will be dumped into the attacker's machine, so that he can see. Now, in case if it is a passwords and usernames, that can be easily visible to the attackers. So key scan start is the command to start the keylogger. And here you can see whichever keywords are used, like in the keyboard, that is reflected here. I can even see what are the processes running by using just ps command, so that I can try to, as a malicious hacker, I can try to migrate my malicious process into the legitimate process like Notepad. So 2108 is the one, that PID. And if I use this many are there. So migrate This is one more exploit, post exploitation exploit command. So manage migrate. Okay, so that actually migrates my malicious process into the legitimate process like Notepad. So let me forward quickly. So how we just need to see in the background how that victim was created a TCP connection back to the attacker's machine. Like that is 163, 177, 112, 128. It's the attacker's machine on some port. So that we will come to know by using netstat-agent. So that was connection is established. Okay. Malicious hackers can literally download and upload the files, whatever he requires. If he wants to install the malicious files like any rootkits, you can make use of upload download commands which are available in the Metasploit shell. And yes. There is something called, for maintaining the access, there's something called persistence command. So we just need to run that so that it creates a temporary file in the whenever victim reboots. So the connection remains the persistent to the victim to the attacker machine. If you want me to explain this command, run persistence -u is for automatically start the agent when the user logs on. Agent is nothing but that payload which we have delivered to the victim. And I is the interval. Every 5 minutes, 5 seconds, it has to create the reverse shell, the reverse TCP connection back over the port number 4 to the attacker's IP address. So after running the persistence, you'll get one more session, that is persistence connection session. Even after a victim reboots, that connection, that victim PC creates the reverse connection back to the attacker machine. So for clearing the logs, okay.
4 minutes.
For clearing the logs, we have used something called clear EV. Okay, so this clears all the logs in the windows, that events, security events, application logs, or system logs. And on the Linux machine, it is in the varlog messages. So if you go to Windows, you can see in the event viewer, so all logs were cleared. Application logs, security logs, and system logs. Just to wipe out all the logs, we just run that command. Attackers. And attacker can literally change the password without knowing the existing password by using some commands. So just net user command like that. So it's the command is net user, and we need to copy that user, for which user attacker is going to change the passwords according to his password, like without knowing the current password. So it's got successfully changed, but victim will not be able to log in, since if he forgot that, he will not be able to guess that password what attacker said. Not possible. So literally, attacker can do anything on the victim machine. So if he gets the full control over it, for example, turning off the firewalls, turning off the antivirus, and taking the remote access, remote desktop using our desktop, many more, and literally harden that victim machine so that he will be used for future purpose, if anything. So that's all, a small demonstration that you can try in the labs. This was my topology. So where attacker was sitting on the internet, and in between firewall is there, and router or switches, and going to the admin machine and admin PC that is running Windows, and there is some server which is internet facing. So those two are statically netted so that it will be accessed by the outside users, and that's how that demonstration was shown. So let's talk about the prevention measures. So here, so I'm a checkpoint engineer. I know some of the countermeasures using the checkpoint security solutions like anti-bot. So only thing you need to aware how it works. So anti-bot works based on the bad reputation of IP addresses and the bad domain names, prevents the bot communication by identifying bot damage. IPS works on signature-based engine. Antivirus prevents malwares based on the hash values with the help of malware feeds, and blocks access to malware sites. So basically, every malicious files has some checksum, that is hash values. Okay, so in order to differentiate between those malicious scripts, the checksum is required. So those database will be used inside the any solutions like antivirus and IPS. So that just compares against database and does the prevention actions. So TE and the TX, that is threat emulation and threat extraction, is for preventing the zero-day attacks. So basically, it does emulation and extraction for preventing the zero-day attacks. So majorly, people has to use the endpoint security solutions like sandblasting agent for in order to prevent the zero-day ransomware attacks and to get the reports of forensic about the malicious file entry and exit point. So between that, what happens? Clearly, you'll get a lot of information in that.